He's a terrifying enemy of G.I.Joe. Destro is his name. Destro is his name. American hero, fighting evil Destro.
Hey, hey! Welcome to Half the Battle. Well, we're back to the comic this week. And we'll be taking a look at issue 57, Side by Side with Destro. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the actual title. Silly me assuming it was because it's on the freaking cover. No, the actual title is Strange Bedfellows. There's like zero chance they mean that literally, right? So, the cover is plain and simple. You see Destro alongside Lady J and Flint side by side with Destro. Yeah, the cover does the job. Though Flint looks less than thrilled. The opening page sure has a lot of text on it. That's because they have to dump a whole lot of lore all at once. We learn that terrordromes are produced by Mars, an arms manufacturer in Scotland that's been run by Destro's family since 1752. So to learn more about the terrordromes, they need to investigate Mars. The Joes have learned that Destro, who was presumed dead, is very much alive and on his way back to Scotland, so Hawk orders Flint and Lady J to go and have a little chat with him. Destro arrives in Scotland and changes into his regular outfit. Are you allowed to walk around like that over there? I mean, during the time that this video is made, you know, with the whole pandemic going on, sure, you'll see masks in the street. But even now, people would still take note of the big metal mask, to say nothing of the 70s disco outfit. The Joes also arrive and are met with the biggest British stereotype I've ever seen. I say, are you chappies Lady J and Flint? Egats, frightfully boorish of me, what? Yeah, nobody in the UK actually talks like that. Meanwhile, at Castle Destro. Hey, at least a comic book provides its own meanwhiles, saving me the trouble. Destro arrives home. His cab driver asks why he's got Scotch guards, but he says they aren't real, just private security, and his granddad liked the uniforms. As everybody knows, well, everybody who used Google to look it up, the Scotch Guards are one of the toughest fighting units in the British Army. Their words, not mine, but I'm not gonna argue, and the oldest formed regiment. By the way, the soldiers in the furry hats that guard the Queen are not called Scots Guards, and shouldn't be confused with them. They are called the Queen's Guard and can be made up of any regiment, though Scots Guards often function as Queen's Guards. You know, if Destro had changed their uniforms to Iron Grenadiers before this comic happened, I wouldn't have needed to go on this tangent! Yes, his private army later became known as the Iron Grenadiers, possibly because the British army would otherwise sue him for copyright infringement. Anyway, Destro wants a cup of tea and a decent scone. He's never shown a hint of British stereotyping before, so this feels kinda weird. The Sergeant Major informs him tea is already being served, to the chagrin of his master, since tea is only to be served in the Arboretum when the Laird of the Manor is presiding. Very good, cheerio, what, me old bugger? I'm so sorry. But it turns out the Laird is in fact presiding, and now we've got two Destros. Uh-oh! The fake Destro knew he was coming, he should have baked a cake, so he arranged for the police to pick him up, though Scottish police really shouldn't be dressed like that. You won't get away with this, whoever you are. I already have. Dude, you shouldn't say that in front of people you're trying to trick into believing you're the real Destro. The Joes watch all this happen, so have to come up with a new plan. The plan being that Lady J dresses up as Granny Weatherwax to get into his cell. And how does G.I.Joe normally deal with a problem? By blowing it the hell up, of course. Yeah, they blast a hole in the wall with a freaking rocket launcher and get him out that way. How this didn't turn into an international incident, I'll never know. Anyway, Destro agrees to help them get the plans off the terrordromes, something he thinks the imposter is after too, as long as they help him get his castle back. What's most interesting here, though, is that Destro says he's about had it with Cobra as is. Yeah, this is an important moment in G.I.Joe history. So now they need another plan to get into the castle. We are just full of plans today, aren't we? And the plan involves a freaking World War II glider. The SAS officer assures Lady J it's still airworthy because it's British. Destro points out it's mostly Canadian and his Scottish father helped build it. Now, Scotland is part of Great Britain and all that, but the subtle dig at English superiority is clear here. And and I love it.
The glider goes in at low altitude while Flint and Sergeant Day provide a diversion using their jeep. One of Destro's troops brings the wrath of fate upon him by saying they could do with a bit of excitement.
I bet he's 2 weeks away from retirement too.
Sure enough, the jeep gets spotted and he's calling an alert condition red. And any joke involving Red Alert and Scotty would be such low-hanging fruit, it could technically qualify as a potato.
Yes, I know a potato is a vegetable. Leave the pedantics to me, please.
The diversion sure as hell works, as one little jeep has got the full attention of the many, many defenses of the castle. Damn, that place has more armaments than a castle.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The Joes thought that Destro would land the glider in the castle's grounds, but there's no room. He says they shouldn't have assumed he was gonna land the thing, and crashes it into the Arboretum.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
He didn't want to warn them in advance, in case they would object to the plan.
Okay, that's very cool.
Flint also makes his way inside, by way of explosion of course, and they fight their way to the plans. And you'll note you don't really see anybody die. They are trying to keep casualties to a minimum.
I was gonna make a joke here about how this is getting too close to the cartoon series, but it actually does make sense here.
I mean, they are Destro's own troops after all, so slaughtering them wouldn't be something he'd want to do. They open the locked doors to the plans by, driving the jeep through them.
You know what? Screw it. I ain't even mad. This is awesome.
But fake Fakestro, tries to make a run for it with the plans, but gets tackled by OG Destro.
And you can tell where this is going.
Yeah, they roll down the stairs, so naturally nobody knows who's who anymore. His troops figure only the real Destro would win the fight, so that will decide it.
Or, you could take off their masks.
They may not know what Destro looks like, but they'd know what he didn't look like, right? The fight goes on for another page. A fight that I imagine sounds like this.
I am so great! I am so great!
Since they don't shut up during it and have sound effects like clang and bong. The real Destro wins, of course, and it's time to reveal the imposter.
Just as we thought.
It's the curator, Mr. Wickles.
Oh, come on, an old castle, a mystery, I couldn't resist.
But no, it's actually Major Blood?
What?
Okay, I'll admit I did not see this coming. Especially since, Cobra has a master of disguise on the payroll.
Fine, they got me.
Anyway, the Sergeant Major asks if they should just shoot the Joes, but Destro upholds their deal, saying he has to honor the pact with a pretty lady, kissing Lady J's hand to the delight of Flint. And that was Strange Bedfellows, a title Flint is daring me to make a joke about right now.
And it was a pretty good story.
Plus, we learned a lot more about Destro, his family history, and how he's fed up with Cobra, so it's an important issue too. The only thing that bothers me is that the imposter was Major Blood, not Zartan. I can't figure out if that was a brilliant subversion of expectations, or just stupid.
I'll leave that up to you to decide.
One thing though, they really hammered on Destro's Scottish heritage. Well, I watched the cartoon as a kid before reading the comic, and this...
His own army? We shall see about that!
Does not sound very Scottish. It's just hard to imagine Destro is supposed to sound like Groundskeeper Willie,
Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots.
And finally, the Britishness on display in this comic was so very, very stereotypical. Pip pip cheerio, what? In conclusion, it was a good issue, and a must-read if you want to get to know Destro better.
Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing? Also, next week is the start of a new month, and you know what that means. It's Main Character May.
He's a terrifying enemy of G.I. Joe. Destro is his name. Destro is his name. American hero. Fighting evil Destro.
Introducing Destro.
You better watch out, Joe. Hey, what's going on?
When your bollocks did up good, you did.
I'd make a joke here about how this is getting too close to the cartoon series, but I forgot what I was gonna say next.